Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Surviving Tween-dom. Today is Saturday Q&A because we missed it yesterday. And if my computer is bugging out, I apologize. I don't know what's happening with the lighting here. It seems kind of messed up. Okay. If you're new, remember to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button, like, comment, and share with your friends. Not only parents, because I've realized that, yes, we're at 14 subscribers. It's a slow climb, but I realize not all of my subscribers are parents. So some people are taking away from this that aren't even parents, which I think is amazing. So again, welcome to Surviving Tweendom. My name is Lex. If you're new, remember to hit the subscribe, like, share, comment as you feel. So I owe you guys a video. I feel like I'm saying this every day. This week has been completely just, if you're a parent, you know, right? And I'm late. I apologize. I'm having some technical difficulties with my laptop. Like I said, laptop, DSLR camera, those are the first two things on my Christmas list for myself this year. Hell to the yes. So I hope everybody's doing well. Yesterday I missed the Q&A. I was just busy doing stuff with the girls. To be honest, my computer's doing that thing again. It just times out. It's annoying. I'm working off of a MacBook Pro. I think it's a years old now. So I'm surprised it's lasted this long because they're actually not supposed to, apparently. Okay. So I hope he's doing good. Yes, so I missed the Q&A yesterday. I'm on live today to do it. I'm actually going to be posting 2 videos. After this video is Tween Talk, where my younger daughter's going to come on. We're going to answer some questions about what it's like to be a tween. What it's like in this day and age to be a tween. I have no idea. When I was 12, back in whatever time that was, it was completely different than it is now. So I just thought it would be cool to have her come on and share some light on what it's like being a 12-year-old in this day and age. What goes through their heads? I don't know. We'll even see if we can get anything out of her because she's like a vault, I promise you. So let's just get into it. So I had quite a few questions come in. So I'm just going to start because I actually haven't even gone through all of them yet. Okay. I'm going to go in order as I received them yesterday. And I do apologize because I did get some messages from some people around 11 o'clock last night. And they're like, hey, I thought you were supposed to go live. And I was like, yeah, I apologize. So like I said, I'm here today. I apologize. Actually a little bit late because of technical difficulties. And I'm going to try to do better with my time going forward. Okay. So let's see. Oh, the first question I got was from Anonymous in Maryland, United States. And she asked, do I think or can single moms raise sons? That's a good question. Give me 1 second because my throat's really dry. 1 sec. Kaya, can you bring mommy a drink, please? My throat is so dry. Is there any water in the kitchen? Yeah. Actually, no, don't bring me that water in the kitchen. The cats have been drinking out of that bottle. Can you bring me an iced tea or something, please? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So can single moms raise sons? Thank you. Can single moms raise sons? My take on that is, of course they can. I think it's difficult, and don't jump on me. This is my opinion, and I'm allowed to have my opinion, okay? I think it's difficult for a woman to raise a man because a woman is not a man. But I do believe that a single mom, of course, can raise a son. I think that A son needs a good example from his mother. They need to see a good example from their mother, and they need to see a good example from their father. Or they need to see a good example from a female role model, and they need to see a good example from a male role model. That said, it is important that, if you're a single mother raising a son or daughter, but in this case, the question was asked about a son, how you conduct yourself, how you raise your son, whatever values and morale you instill in him, I think will depict how he is in relationships with his friends and with a partner later on in life. And I also believe that as a single mother, if you have a son, it is still important to have a positive male role model in his life. Even if his dad is not around, maybe a grandfather, a close family member or a friend, somebody that you can trust, somebody that he can trust, even if it's a coach, right? And it goes both ways, to be honest with you. I believe just like how it would be very difficult for a single father to raise a daughter and teach her how to be a woman, I think the help that he would need is another woman that can be trusted in the family to help in that aspect. I think it's the same thing with a mother. So a single mother can definitely raise a son, but I don't believe that a woman can teach a boy how to be a man like how a man can teach a boy how to be a man. That's how I'm going to answer that question. Excuse me, my throat is really dry. Prior to this, I was out on the road. I just got back home and jumped right into this. So I apologize. The second question I was asked actually came from, wow, Nigeria. And this is from Comfort in Nigeria. Her question is, what are my top 10 parenting tips that work for me? So 10. Wow, that's a lot. My top 10 parenting tips that work for me are, I'm going to have to count on fingers because I don't have it written down anywhere. One, keeping the lines of communication open with my kids. 10 is a lot. Two would be expressing myself, talking a lot. So that's keeping the lines of communication open, but expressing myself and encouraging the kids to express themselves also. 3, family meetings. So again, that has to do with keeping the lines of communication open. 4, lots of hugs. I'm a big hugger, and I believe in being affectionate with your kids. I think that's important. 5, telling your kids that you love them every day. Every day. 6, always asking them how they feel, whether it's how their day went. Again, that's keeping the lines of communication open, but how their day went, what they're going through. Every day the girls get in the car and I talk to them. I always ask them how their day is and we have a conversation about that. I think it's important for them to know that there's somebody that actually cares how their day is. And no matter how busy I am with my day, that their day matters to me. 7, supporting them in who they are and not who I want them to be. That is 2 completely different things. 8 would be providing a comfortable home environment for them, making sure that they have everything they need at home so they don't have to go out and look for it anywhere else. 9, making sure that I get along with their dad is very important and that we have a very close-knit family and we do family things together. All of us, like whether it's me and the girls doing stuff with their dads, the grandparents, like everybody, like that we're very close-knit. I always wanted that, them to know that family comes first. And 10, since I have one more, let me really think about this one. Door open policy. I've always told the girls that no matter what, I am here and my door is always open. I don't necessarily mean my bedroom door, but even with my bedroom door, even if my bedroom door is closed, they know they can come to me at any time of the day. They know that my phone is on and available to them any time of the day, even if I'm at work and they need me. I have an open door policy. They can come to me anytime about anything. So, to answer your question, comfort, those are my top 10 parenting tips that work for me. Okay, moving on. I was asked, and again, I'm not sure if this person wants to remain anonymous, but this question comes from Georgia. With your schedule, would you ever be open to get into a serious relationship? With my schedule and being that I am a mom and this is like everybody is different, I can only entertain a serious relationship. I've never been one to be a serial dater. It's definitely not my thing. I think dating is very healthy, mind you, because dating allows you to know what you want and what you don't want, what your likes and dislikes are. And it also allows you to see who you are compatible with. But I personally have never been a serial dater. I've never had the time for it. So I've always been a relationship person. And because I am a mom to two girls, I only have time to entertain a serious relationship. I don't have time to entertain anything that is, what would the word be? Casual. I don't have any time to entertain anything like that. I think I'm losing some of my questions here. Another question that I received, Jennifer from Wisconsin, she said she's 34. What do I do if my 7-year-old child gets in a fight with another child? So I don't know what she means by that. I don't know if this is an ongoing thing, but if it is an ongoing thing, the fighting, if your child is always fighting, I would probably recommend maybe talking to him or her. She didn't specify. 7 years old is pretty young to be getting into fights, but it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but usually when kids of that age are showing any type of aggression, there's something happening. Something is upsetting him or her. We don't know if she or he is being bullied. We don't know if they're upset about something. So I would recommend talking to your child. So I would try the same thing. We're all busy. I get it. So maybe when your child comes home from school and you've now come home from work and you have time to sit even at the dinner table, talk about their day. And never question them. Don't question or interrogate them. I used to do that with my youngest daughter. I used to do that with my oldest daughter when she was younger. She was about 5 or 6. And instead of asking her, how was your day at school? I would say, oh, what happened at school today? Did this happen? Who did you play with? What happened then? What happened then? And then I realized what she was doing was she was making up a story every day to come home and tell me. So don't ask questions. Just have them talk about their day. You can ask questions about what they're talking about, but don't sit and interrogate them. It's two completely different things. That's what I would recommend. But in so doing, once you start, at first, if you're not used to doing it, it's not something that usually happens at the dinner table. Your kids may be like, right? But as it becomes natural and habitual, they'll get used to it and it will just be a free-flowing conversation. And then the more you talk, the more he or she will open up and you'll have an idea of what's going on. I would also probably get in touch with the school just to have a talk with the teacher, just to see what's going on. But definitely, it's not something I would ignore because something definitely is going on there, especially at that age. Another question I was asked by Anonymous, and this came from Brampton. Is it possible to have a friend relationship with your children? Well, I'll answer it this way. I consider my older daughter, she's almost 18, my best friend. And my younger one, however, we don't have a friendship type relationship. I am more of a mom to her. And I think the difference is I had Kaya at a younger age. I had her when I was 18. So she grew up with me. So she will tell you that I'm strict, and I've always been very strict with her. But we do have a more kind of friendship like relationship, the way we can joke around until things get too serious, mind you. But to answer your question, I can answer that when she's like 25 and I see how she turns out. So far, so good. I have had no issues with her whatsoever. Her childhood was a breeze. She never went through the terrible twos. Her teenage life has been a breeze so far. Let me see when she gets 25 how it works out, and I can answer that question. My younger daughter, because I had her in my mid-20s, however, our relationship dynamic is a lot different, and I'm more of a mother figure to her. Although my older daughter will say that I don't really discipline her as much, but it's definitely different. So again, give me a couple of years and I can answer that question for you a little better. Another question I got was, from the same person. How do you discipline your child? What are the best ways? My honest answers about discipline is it's whatever works for you. Whatever your family dynamic is, you have to do what works for you. And I can honestly say this though, you discipline based on their personality and their behavior. No two children are alike, so I don't think you're going to be able to discipline both two kids the same way and have a positive outcome. You have to, I believe you discipline your kids based on what works for them. So for instance, some kids are just fearless and they're not afraid of anything. You can yell, you can scream, which both I don't really agree with, because I feel like once you yell or scream and you lose control, you've already lost the respect, because the respect isn't there. And when you're yelling and screaming, nobody can hear anything that you're saying anyway. You should be able to get your message out by just talking. And it doesn't have to be talking like, oh, well, please, please. You can talk in an assertive, strong voice and still get your point across. My dad has never yelled at me, but he scares me more than my mom, who I grew up with, who screamed all the time. And she shouted. My mom was a yeller. She was definitely a yeller. And I always say I do not want to be a yeller, because when my mom was yelling at me, I couldn't hear anything she was saying. But my dad had a certain tone of voice that alone just sent chills up. It still does. I'm still afraid of him. And he's never yelled. He does not yell. So some kids really don't respond to spankings. They don't respond to yelling. They don't respond to anything. They're fearless. And those are the kids you got to watch out for, because those are the kids that if you over discipline them, you're going to end up in jail, and it's not worth it. Right. I have never had to spank my kids either. I've lucked out that way. I've always just talked to them. And I think the best way to discipline your kids is to set the expectation before you have to discipline them. But if you're getting to the point where you need to discipline them, it is definitely based on what works for them. My younger daughter is one of those fearless kids who she doesn't respond to anything. And the best thing that you could do for her, ground her off the phone. You take away her phone. You ground her from watching movies. That makes a big deal. My older daughter, however, I honestly couldn't even tell you what she responds to this day, because for her, anytime that she did talk back, or like I said, we really didn't have any issues with her, but let's just say we did when she was maybe 8 or 9, and you'd say, okay, Kaya, you're grounded. No TV. Okay. Go to your room. Okay. So it really depends on the child. You know what works for your child and what they will feel. Right? Okay, let me see. So another question I was asked, and this question also came from Canada. This one's actually from Nova Scotia. So this is on the East Coast. what are your values as a parent? So that kind of ties in with the question that I got asked from Comfort in Nigeria. So I won't go in depth about it, but my biggest values as a parent are I'll share my biggest value as a parent again is supporting your child in what they want to do and who they are. I think that's very important. When my first daughter was younger, I was still younger and I was still learning. Like I said, we grew together and I had to change a lot of my parenting style at that time because I was putting her in sports and extracurriculars and things that I wanted to do when I was younger that my mom wouldn't put me in. And so I was trying to steer her in a certain direction. And then it got to the point where she was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to dance anymore, mommy. I don't want to take ballet. I don't want to take acro. I don't want to take jazz. And I was just like, what? Because in my mind, I wanted her to go to Juilliard. From the time she was 5, I picked out her university already for her. And I think some of us parents do that and we're guilty of it. And when she didn't want to do dance anymore, we're like, no, you just need a break. We let her take a week off. We took her back. She kept falling asleep in the car. When we got to dance class, she wouldn't wake up. We talked to the dance teacher, and the dance teacher was like, she really doesn't want to be here. You cannot force her. So we were like, oh my God. It was such a letdown for me. But that is when I realized she is her own person. This isn't what she wants to do. So now I need to ask her, what do you want to do? And that moment was very groundbreaking because it changed my entire style of parenting. I recognized her as her own individual self, as her own individual person with her own wants, even though, yes, she was only 5 or 6 at the time, but we still have to guide them based on their age, of course, but we need to support them and allow them to grow to be the people that they are. So that helped a lot with my younger daughter in terms of her coming up now. Even now, as my older daughter is in the thinking of applying to universities or colleges, I have to keep reminding you have amazing grades. I would like you to go to university. I think you should aim for university. However, you're the one that has to choose your career path because you're the one at the end of the day that is going to be doing the job or starting the business or opening the gallery or whatever it is that you want to do. And right now she has a lot of different ideas that she wants to do and she's not exactly sure. And she'll come to me and run them by me. And honestly, all I do is I try to listen because I strongly believe that anything that she chooses, I really strongly believe that she will be good at it. She's very talented. So it's not for me to say, I want you to be this when you grow up. I want you to be a lawyer. I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be an artist, or I want you to be a hairstylist. It's really up to her. So my number one value as a parent, my biggest thing is we have to support them and allow them to be who they are. And I think that once we do that, they feel more open with us. They can come to us and they can talk to us and they feel more comfortable. And that's what creates that honesty and that trust. Another question I was asked, this one also comes from the East Coast, Nova Scotia as well. This is from Dave. What is something you like on how your parents raised you that you implement with your children? Okay. While I was growing up, I hated everything about the way I was raised. Everything. I felt like my mom was too strict. I felt like I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. I hated everything. Now that I'm a mom and I look back, I realize my mom did a damn good job, like a very, very good job. And I say that because she raised myself and my sister to be two very strong, resilient, and independent women, hands down. So I would have to say my strength is something that I like that my mom instilled in me. It's something I want to be able to instill in my daughters. I don't know if I'm doing such a good job at it though, because I do baby them a lot, which I'm trying to ease off of a little bit. I baby them a lot, definitely a lot more than I was babied. So I don't know if they're going to get that same strength that I did, but it definitely has to be that. I think that's the one thing I admire the most of how my mom raised me. This is a question that I was asked. I don't even know if this question is for real. Okay. This is from Anonymous, Kansas City. Why do babies always wear hats? Do they? I don't know. I think that babies should wear hats in the summer. I noticed that if anything, it's a fashion thing now. I noticed that a lot of babies are wearing, and I might not be saying it right. They're wearing like little baby head wraps, and it's actually kind of cute. But I'll say this: newborns wear bonnets, and I think it's a fashion thing. I think it also protects the head from sunburn if it's the summer. Obviously, if it's in the winter, they wear hats to keep their heads warm. Newborns get colder faster because they just can't have warm water in the mommy's stomach. So they have to dress warmer. But I also think like with the head wraps and stuff, I think that's a fashion trend. Okay, Dave? The next question. Okay, this one comes from, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name. I'm sorry. So I'm going to say Anonymous, and this is in Shelburne, Ontario. How can you be a good parent while not spoiling your child? I actually think that not spoiling your child is being a good parent. I'm not saying that if you spoil your child, you're a bad parent, but we all know how spoiled kids end up. The girl's dad and I spoiled our kids for a long while, and they didn't end up bad, but as they get older, you realize that you can't say yes to everything. You do have to say no for their own protection. They're going to realize that when they go out, whether it's at school or they grow up and get a job or they go to a friend's house, not everyone's going to cater to them like how mommy and daddy does. The world isn't a yes world. It's very much so a no world. It's very competitive. And the problem is if you spoil your kids too much and they're used to getting everything they want when they want, they don't learn patience, and they can't handle when someone actually says no to them or they get declined for something. So I even realized that in myself, that I'm making my kids learn patience. I'm making them learn a little bit more patience. I'm starting to say no a lot more. And I don't even have a reason to say no. Sometimes I'll just say no for the hell of it. I actually start to I like the word no now. Before I like to say yes all the time. Now I like to say the word no. So I actually think that being a good parent means not spoiling your child. Another person. Ooh, this is a big one. This is a new mom, and she's in the Toronto area, and she said, help. What do I do when my kid is acting up in public? Acting out in public? Leave. That's what my mom used to tell me. So, like I said, my older daughter never went through the terrible twos. My younger daughter did very badly, and I almost couldn't bring her anywhere. It was bad. And when I used to talk to my mom about it, my mom would tell me, leave, drop everything and leave. She said that's what she used to do with me and my sister. The only thing is, it is such an inconvenience to have to leave, but that's the only thing I can suggest. I actually was at the grocery store today, and this woman was just screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming at her child. And you know what? To each his own. I will never tell someone how to parent their child. This is a Q&A, and I've been asked my opinion, but my opinion is, if your child does not know how to act in public, and they are acting out in public, especially if you're doing something that they want to do, drop everything and leave and go back and do it another time. For a while, and not everybody has the advantage or the ability to do this, but for a while, I didn't even bring the younger one out with me while I was grocery shopping or doing whatever. I left her with her grandparents because I just couldn't. I need to be in and out. But you are going to get to a point, and maybe around 3 years of age, when they're still young, where you have to bring them out because they need to learn how to behave in public. Maybe at 2 years old, it's not working out, and maybe at 3, because terrible twos are really from 2 to 4. But 4 years old is still young enough for them to understand, listen, this is the expectation that mommy has. We're going out. We're going out to get A, B, and C. When we go out to get A, B, and C, I expect you to behave like this. And if you don't behave like this is the consequence. So again, it's always setting the expectation prior to. The only problem is with a 2-year-old, the comprehension isn't there 100% unless you're using baby words. I've never spoken to my children in baby words. I've always spoken to my kids like adults. So that's why I said I would leave personally and try to structure your outings when your child is with a family member, daycare, somewhere else where you can get things done. I said, because they still need to be quote unquote trainable, right? And still be able to absorb what you're saying. And it worked. By the time Sienna was, I'm not saying I never took her out, but I'm saying I minimized it. When she was maybe 3.5, 4, and we went out, she would start to settle down more. But I mean, in this day and age, when your kids are out in public and they're acting, how you handle that, because everybody's so quick to pull out the smartphone. You do nothing, you're damned. You do something and you're damned. So you got to be really careful. Okay. So, oh, that's it. I answered everything, and right on time too, because as you know, I try not to go over 30 minutes with these videos. This is perfect. I'm all done. Thank you guys for listening. I do have 2 people who have stayed the whole way through, and I thank you. Please, 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 if you have not subscribed yet, remember to hit the subscribe button in the corner. Remember to comment, like, share. And I'm going to be posting another video shortly with my younger daughter for Tween Talk. If that's something that interests you, if you have any kids, I would say ballpark ages 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, then this is something that may interest you. If you have nieces and nephews around that age, this may be something that interests you. Remember that Monday is going to be week 2 for Monday Money Matters. And we're going to be talking about budgeting and how to come up with a budget that actually works, a budget that you can actually live with and not feel like you can't live, if that makes sense. Okay. So I hope you guys have an amazing night. One more time, remember to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, especially if you're catching this on the replay and you haven't subscribed. Remember to subscribe, like, share, comment. That is the best way you guys can help me out. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend and see you later. Bye.